Hey guys, welcome back to the Arthritis Podcast, official podcast of Digital and Creative Media Works, where each week we take some from pop culture and try to break it down to better understand it. My name is David.
My name is Ben.
And we're joined by returning guest Laura.
Hello.
And this week, gang, it's finally happened. We're back in the new set. We're actually set up like grown-ass
We're
adults.
set up in the set.
Yay.
I'm very much out of frame
There's
here.
actually lighting.
I get
we're working on the
I get a
lighting.
little bit of wiggle room.
We're all kind of a little bit of the wiggle room. I think it's a nice little angle.
I can escape the frame. Whee!
Yeah, you can. I'm stuck
See you
square in the
later.
middle, bang in the middle. It is DCM work, so that makes sense. I'm stuck in the middle as always. Well,
Stuck in the middle.
was
Hi, my
hoping-
name is David.
I was hoping you might do that one. But look, gang, it's finally happened. We saw another Star Wars film.
Oh,
Again?
fuck.
Oh my
It's
God.
been like less than 6 months.
I know.
There was another one.
I'm
They're
getting-
just like ramming so much Star Wars.
There's like another one
throats
this
at
year,
point.
isn't there? Or is that?
No,
No,
that's
this
it.
is it?
No, that's it
Are we
this
free?
year.
Aren't
yeah,
they
we're free
like
this year.
alternating? Like
They're alternating
the...
like episodes
Yeah,
of
but
the
yeah.
story.
But look, I gotta be honest with you,
Does that
gang.
mean like early next year is episode?
No, it's I think the end of the year.
8. What's the next 9? Last
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
Next
it's
one's
9.
like
the next
last
one
in
is
the-
9. Yeah.
It's
Man,
nine.
we
Then
got
it's
through,
Obi
we
Wan.
got through those quick.
Yeah. But look, we're in the middle of reboot month. We're talking all things recreation. We're
So
talking
here's another thing
reinvention.
that's
So here's
not a
classic,
reboot.
Classic Arthritis style. Here's not another reboot,
But
except it kind of is.
I
kinda
mean, they
is.
sort of rebooted Star Wars.
So this
I
week,
mean, all of these films have essentially rebooted in
Exactly.
in big air quotation marks.
Which-
Star Wars.
which is why this week we're talking about the reboot of Solo, a Star Wars Han Solo the Solo film story.
I mean, they recast Han Solo.
Well,
It doesn't quite have
he's
this-
younger. He's like, of course they recast. They didn't recast him. They cast a young
Yeah, a young Han Solo Solo.
in the same way that they cast my favorite rendition of Lando.
What was that? Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Fucking
He's kind
phenomenal.
of the best part of this film.
Off the
No.
bat, they gave him a weird
No,
accent. Yeah,
his
we'll talk about
robot is the best.
Oh,
part
his
of
robot.
This
Yeah,
film.
no,
that. His,
yeah, his
his weird
robot.
pansexual relationship with the robot is great.
Yeah.
L2. was
L3,
the-
isn't it?
L3. Sorry.
L2
L-
is something
L4.
else. L5.
Elton
Look,
John.
Elton John, Piano Man, sing us the song. Anyway, but look, well, the reason that... Okay, so I came out of this film, and this is a film that, by and large, if you've watched this show for as long as we've been making it, which, good lord, is more than 3
You
years,
100% probably knew.
you know I should have hated this.
Yeah.
You know, you will probably walked out of this film, and if you were thinking about me and this podcast, you said to yourself, David will fucking hate this film.
We were talking about this film like last week. David was like, "We're seeing Solo next week," and you were like, "Oh, I hope it's really good." I was like, "It's gonna be horrible," and you were like, "Oh, maybe it's good." And I explained to you, I told you some things that they were
Very
they
patient,
were
like-
going to do in this film.
They did.
Every single one of those.
They
things
did all of
happened,
them. Yeah. Oh my god.
and
Except,
it's still very. and
except
it didn't
the-
ruin it.
except the jacket. He didn't get the jacket. He didn't get the Han Solo jacket. He got a jacket that was very
He didn't
Han
get the
Solo at
really
very end.
the
weird-
boob jacket.
the boob jacket.
Yeah, the really
No,
high
he
cut
didn't.
jacket.
Oh.
Maybe Alden didn't have the peckies for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Didn't have
Maybe
those
we'll
little
get it in
pecky
the
bits.
next film.
Oh yeah, that's a
'cause
trilogy.
it's apparently this film.
But look, okay, so I went into this expecting to hate it,
Same.
and what actually happened was, okay,
Came out of it being very excited for
Much-
the next one.
much like Firefly, the first act was a bit shit. So like the
They
bit when he was in the war, I just didn't care for. They could have picked this up when he was starting the job.
David literally left the cinema during that. To
I went to go
pee.
take a piss out of irritation.
He was like,
I was irate.
You left. I was like, David, this is like a pivotal part of the film.
I
You're
didn't
like,
give
no,
a
I'm
shit.
outie.
I was like, this doesn't matter. It's all part of the backstory. It doesn't matter. They literally could have had him it could have opened with him being a deserter, getting thrown in the pit with Chewie, and you wouldn't have needed any other context. The film still would have worked.
You needed the love interest.
You sort of got
God,
that when she returned and you worked
seriously.
out she was a love interest. It's called inferring in your plot. Don't
I
talk
mean,
down to me, Star
To
Wars.
be honest,
needed
because
how
I'm
Jesus
I'm a little more lukewarm on this film than you guys seem to be. Like you guys really like this film,
I had a great time.
and
Don't
to
put
be
words
honest,
in my mouth.
Doesn't matter.
well,
did
I mean,
not re-
David really liked the
David
film.
really
I
liked
came
But
out
what did I
glowing.
don't know what you thought. What
I
did you
think
think?
I'm excited for the next one, but this is like coming out of episode 7.
Oh.
Like I didn't like it.
Well,
Huh.
I mean,
It's
but I'm a bit
just
more
kind of
lukewarm
keen
on this
to-
film.
Why?
Just personally, I mean,
Yeah,
I
no,
can
explain
see
to
like
me.
where like it did certain things well, and like you know, it was a competently made film, but like. I didn't feel as many things as I wanted to feel, and like I like a really good
like a good
romance subplot,
when
and
the film
the
just
romance
kicks you in the-
subplot did not hit home for me.
That's why,
like,
you know, and
Didn't feel the love.
well, it didn't feel
In
the
the
feel
air.
like because that's no, I'm with Laura. Normally, I come out of films, and if I felt something, I'm there. Like Logan, I felt something.
We
This
all
one,
felt something.
this one, I felt nothing except man.
she's
Star Wars is
like
great.
literally it's. So spoilers, I guess. We haven't said spoilers
Sorry,
always
as always,
spoilers.
if the name of the thing is in the title of the episode, spoilers going forward, you
But,
were warned it's
yeah.
your fault. There's 3 years of this. Come on, guys.
Okay, so like it's the most typical and like in terms of like a romance subplot, everything is completely predictable. It's like they're together in the start and they're like, we're gonna run away together. I'm like, they're gonna get separated or like
Yeah.
she's gonna die
Isn't
or
it, like-
something.
isn't it literally like?
And
isn't
then
this-
like literally the next scene they get separated and
Yeah.
then like and then they meet again and I'm like, well they're not gonna end up together.
Is that how Pirates of the Caribbean 4 worked? Isn't that the plot of Pirates of the Caribbean
Oh,
4? They're like
What?
they're
shit.
friends. They're like friends as kids, and then they get
Oh,
split
no.
up. Or is that Pirates of the Caribbean
No.
1?
No, that's the first Pirates.
That's the
That's
first
1
one.
and
But
5.
4 is
No, you're thinking of 5.
No, but
5?
no, the
What's the one
pirate,
where they
Pirates.
kind of rebooted Pirates?
Dead Men Say Nothing. That's 5.
The one
That's 5, but they didn't
5?
know each other as kids in that one.
No.
You're
No.
thinking
So
of the first
1.
one.
So yeah, no,
It's
but they
Pirates of the
know,
Caribbean.
but they grow up together in
That's a
one.
bit different,
Basically,
yeah.
they don't get separated.
They get separated by class.
Meh.
No, yeah, it was a good response. You trying to equivocate Pirates of the Caribbean and fucking Solo.
Tried-
Mind
Good.
you, I made a sick pirates reference during this film.
Oh God!
Explain.
when
Jesus.
when he plugged L3 into the ship, or it was like part of the crew, part of the ship, and I lost it.
Funniest thing you've ever said.
Like the moment
shit.
plugs in,
Oh, like,
it's just
immediately.
she's becoming. It's just like she's part of the
Part
ship
of the
now,
ship,
and
part of the
Lauren's
crew.
like part of the crew, part of the ship.
That
I love
is
that.
fucking
I love that.
genius.
So it just ruined the. It
Pulled you
ruined
out
the
of it
tension.
completely.
I was like, oh,
Oh,
fuck.
shit. Okay.
And then I just kept imagining them just kind of seeping into the walls.
Oh my god. That's fucking Laura, I'm so happy that you're here tonight. Okay, can I try to explain in human words why I like this film?
Go ahead.
From
give
a
it
narrative
shot.
from a narrative perspective, and then also explain why I think it's bad.
Okay, go
Is
ahead.
that okay? Do you guys mind
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
Without
falsely-
saying the DM. without
the-
saying Darth Maul.
Yeah, 'cause he was
Can you
sick-
explain
he was
why you
sick
like this
nasty.
film without playing?
I can.
Without saying that.
Because by the time that he occurred, well, this is
You were
why.
already kind of sold.
I was already sold on the
Alright,
film,
fair
and
enough.
then they dropped him in. I was like, I forgot this was Star Wars. Here's why: I thought the first act was not good and
Yep.
clunky and clumsy, but it
agree.
set up everything that you needed for the payoff at the end, which was the triple blind swap.
It's a goddamn Ocean's film. is what it is. Yeah.
The main reason I like this film is it's a heist film, and y'all
good
know I
heist
fuck
film.
with a heist film.
Yeah.
Rogue One was a bad heist film. This was a good heist film. But here's why I think this worked. The exposition in the first act was all there. You could have worked out the twist at the end if you paid enough attention. However, the first act was so all over the place that it ruined. Like, I literally walked out. I was like, man, this is bad. Like, I was like, I checked out.
You're kind of like, yeah.
But
I'm
then,
done.
as it gained momentum, I slowly was sucked in again and again. All they needed to do was rewrite the first act about 12 more times. Like, the first act needed some massaging, but by the time I got to the middle build, so, when Lando's in the ship and he's like, and you get that relationship with L3, the droid, all that stuff, I'm slowly getting sucked in and I'm like, what's going to happen? What's
And
going to happen?
They needed to establish the romance subplot better if they were going to have one. Like, I mean, if they're just friends, like childhood friends, that has a bit more of a basis. But like, they're literally like, it's like they're in love, and like when they meet again, like literally 3 years later, he's like, let's pick up where we left off, and it's
Yeah.
like.
I feel
like,
like
from
you
a
can-
human relationship perspective, when you haven't seen one for 3 years, do you really know them anymore? And like, are you really gonna still be in love after 3 years? Or are you in? And this is probably what they should have done instead. Is like, are you in love with like the idea of that person after 3 years? And I guess they tried.
touch on it.
tried to go there, but they didn't do it well enough.
The thing with like you can do, because this is a heist film, and people have done like kind of romance subplots in heist films, but it's never like it's never traditional. Like you can't really get away with just going, "Dog, fall in love and then betrayed," because it always goes against what like a heist film is trying to like set up, which is like sabotage and like backstabbing. And like if you look at like Ocean's 13,
Which one's 13?
12. Sorry, Ocean's 12. It's the one with the French guy.
Yes, okay.
That has not a romance subplot, but it has the tension between George Clooney and
The female lead. Her name is not
Jessica. No, Robert. It's something
important. Jesus
Roberts.
Christ.
Something. Yes.
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts. Yeah, Julia Roberts.
Got him.
Whereas
come on,
like
I got
where there's like a romance subplot esque there, but it's never played as like, you know, like Romeo and Juliet.
Mhm.
And this one,
Right.
it's like they tried to have.
It's like,
both.
oh, circumstances are like
Yeah.
bloody pushing them apart.
So-
and she's like, oh, I've done things, so like you wouldn't
Yeah.
like me if you heard about the things
So,
that I
like,
did.
her backstabbing is based on like a power struggle. So
Yes.
like
Yeah.
her backstabbing isn't like done through passion or
She's like
anything.
the least fleshed out character in the film
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
really
Like
obnoxious.
she's literally she like turns up at the start and then she's already established in the middle as like a high ranking person in this crimson whatever.
I thought she was a sex slave for a long time.
Oh my god, me too.
Oh, okay. Thank fuck
Wait,
I'm not
really?
the only one.
Oh, okay. I've read.
Like the goddamn brand, I was like,
Oh.
she's a sex slave. Like, you kidding me?
Okay.
That's fucked. She's like, you wouldn't imagine the things I've done. It's like you
she's
just.
Darth Maul's apprentice.
Does he
What?
have like?
What?
Does he have like a double-ended? Anyway.
A penis? How do you think
I mean, maybe like he could.
Wow,
He's
Jesus
a weird alien
fucking
boy.
Oh my
Christ.
god.
He's
Anyway.
got no legs. He got chopped off at the waist. He's got no dick.
We don't know that. It hasn't been confirmed or whatever.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, look. To bring us a tiny bit back on track from when you said the thing about the two-sided penis, which for some reason has got on our podcast somehow. We've had actual stimulating conversation, but Ben's gonna bring the double dick in it. Look, I totally agree with you. I think the romance subplot was kind of hammed in there. But what I suspect happened was, and Emilia Clarke is one of my favorite actresses. I think she's fantastic. I think she did her best in Terminator, despite everything. But I don't think she was the right choice for this role. I think you
Oh.
needed someone who could play off Han in such a way that would be... What you needed with someone is get Alden Ehrenreich in a room, because I know he can act. I've seen him act before. And get him in a room with someone where he has chemistry, like tangible, actual chemistry, and they were in a room
She-
together, and you feel sparks. Like, you
She
needed this...
to be,
Ryan
I think
Gosling.
more like because
yeah.
a lot of like
Fuck
in
yeah.
this film, like she seems like sympathetic to them, but like there's not enough. I feel like mystery and like, oh, what is she thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like she seems too transparent.
That's because Emilia Clarke has the way that she... I think it's just a miscasting. Because if you look at the way that role is written, it should have been someone that has a bit of, like...
Yeah,
You could have got away with...
you should have been able to like look at her and be like, is she gonna betray them
Yeah.
or not?
She
Exactly,
I think,
yeah.
Like her reintroduction was so confusing. I was sitting
When was
there.
she-
I was like, is she just like a hologram? Because she's acting really weird.
It was also
Yeah.
an odd like my biggest problem with and like you can have coincidence as plot, because if everything is causal it becomes a bit like convenient, in the same way that if everything is coincidence it's convenient. But
yeah.
her introduction, I was waiting for it to happen, so the fact that it was a coincidence felt kind of cheap. Like
Yeah.
you're
Right.
expecting her to come back because I spent so much time in her. You're
But
like,
like,
you know.
like the way that they did it, where they just she turns up
She's
at a
just
party,
there.
it like it gets rid of some of the gravity that could have come from the fact that she's like the lieutenant of this crimson whatever, I forget what they're called.
The Crimson Caravan. No,
it's-
that's Fallout.
yeah.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson
It-
Dawn. Yeah, like because if they'd just like gone into like the imposing whatever the leader guy and like she'd just been standing next to him, like that would have been more of a reveal, because it's like, oh, she's working with them.
And it's not like when she came back, she was like, you either play that as like she's really surprised, she's like, what are you doing here? And it's like a whole, like she's like just like fucking like, you know, part freaking out, part super excited. Or you play it where she's like almost like expecting him.
I would
Where,
have
like
loved
she rocks up, she's just like, but
Well, you could- you
which
could
is,
have
like,
leaned into
expecting
that.
him. But
Yeah.
it's like it was weirdly in the middle where she was like part like, what are you doing here? But
It-
also part fine and in control. And it's like
Huh.
that's why when she came on, I was like, is she just like a robot? Because she wasn't acting like a human being would
she
act.
was a little bit all over.
That's
the
why I
place.
was like, oh, she's a sex slave.
Could you
all
have-
her emotions are gone.
Could you have
It's
fix-
just like
You could fix that by somehow like, because really what you're talking about is giving her more agency to characterize her stronger, right? So
Yeah.
what if she had engineered, and I don't know how you do it, but like you could, if you know, you're a writer,
mean,
you can make it happen.
in-
But if she had in some way engineered that he would turn up there, and then
Well, in
she could sort of do
In
that.
theory, that's
Right.
what the reveal at the end kind of
But it doesn't
says,
quite
but it
Yeah,
doesn't
work.
come
it
across
doesn't-
like that. It's not like her act. It's not like the ending of the film recontextualizes her actions throughout.
It could have
No,
if there
it
was.
It doesn't. Like,
Like it
Yeah.
doesn't, but it could have.
There's a
Like,
missing link there.
Yeah.
she has like one moment of like proper like agency in this film. Otherwise, like through the whole film, she's just doing
Oh,
what
she
other
just
people.
Chucks a fucking
Oh,
bunch of grenades.
She's
I
doing.
just-
She's
sorry.
doing.
I
She's
just
carrying
fixed
out
it.
plans that everyone else has come up with through the entire film, and
Yeah.
the only thing that she does that she decides to do through this entire film is when she kills the boss guy.
I've just
Right.
I've just fixed the film. It's
Okay.
not in the film. Here's how you fix it. You have
Welcome to movie maintenance.
welcome to movie maintenance. That show's over, so we can safely say that.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it ended. Look, okay, so here's what you could do if you wanted to. In that scene where Han is in the thing with Chewie and they're making that elaborate plan. Listen, that
Oh,
which
the pit.
which
The
we're not.
Sarlacc
Yeah,
pit.
we're not doing that. But it's dumb. But we'll keep that in a film for some reason. In that sequence somewhere when he's deserting, you have when he's about to get killed, you have a soldier like pull him out and be like, "Orders from up on high. You're being excused. Orders by," and you name drop someone.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be the name of the guy who's working for the Crimson Dawn. That would see the fact that Crimson Dawn are working with the Empire, and it was actually Emilia Clarke's character,
Yeah.
Kira, who sent that order. Then at the end, Darth Maul could be like, "I'm glad that you pulled him out of that pit." And then you go, "Oh shit, she saved him, and it was her plan the whole time." But there's none of that. You just kind of go, "Oh, I guess."
We're gonna be
She
working
does
closer
shit
together.
all.
Here's my lightsaber.
I guess she kind of knew.
She just like goes along with everything and goes with the flow. So her character
guess
does
apparently
nothing.
She's
like
a main character.
her
I
character
fucking
does
love.
shit all. She's like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna go along and help them a bit and do shit all.
She
It
loves
doesn't-
some nades pretty well.
That was pretty
She
sick.
does
No,
some
that was
fighting,
pretty
but
well.
that's not the same thing as like having agency in the story.
Can we talk about Han Solo's Harrison Ford hair? So they spent a lot of budget apparently on this film getting Alden Ehrenreich's hair to look right.
Really? Did they have to like
What?
re-engineer how his hair
No.
Oh my
naturally
God.
sits or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like doing Hollywood hair. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know what I would have liked to see? Because the more I've been thinking about this film, the more. Okay, so the elements that I liked, like the cowboy space opera stuff, it's right up my Firefly alley. It just
Yeah.
tickles that like 14-year-old boy in me who's like, pirates are cool. And then I wrote a book about sky pirates. I don't know what the fuck that tells you, but like it punches all my buttons genre wise, speculative fiction wise. But something that bothered me is they spent a lot of time trying to make Alden Ehrenreich behave like Harrison Ford, which I don't mind because he's playing the same character. But why not just have him be like a bit different? Like, and there's
Right.
a chasm between who he becomes and who he was. But they
Yeah.
kind of had him. I don't know. I loved his shit
They're
eating
like
grin.
day one.
Yeah, they
You're
did.
Han
They
Solo.
did the whole like Han Solo playbook. They did the
Kind
like.
of like the douche grin thing, but yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah,
for me
he
some of the
he
time.
he even did the like. Oh, he does heroic things,
Like
but then
how he how he doesn't
refuses to go with the resistance. It's like it's
That bothered
everything.
me because I would have loved him. I would have loved to see him betray the resistance, or like not help them directly. I felt that was a bit cheap because we know like the best part about in
Yeah.
Star Wars, the
It's
second
just
Star
kind
Wars.
of playing off the whole like you're the good guy and everyone's like
Because yeah, like one of the best parts of A New Hope is when Han turns around and helps them.
yeah.
And if you've seen this film and then you watch that, it kind of
you're like, well, of course.
you're like, of course, he's a good guy. Whereas I would have liked to see a bit more like maybe he doesn't help
well.
them
The
directly,
thing,
but
the thing is, in like
cheeky
in New
little
Hope,
help.
is that you don't know Han at all, and like the whole point with like a prequel is like it fleshes out his character.
you suggesting that Star Wars prequels are a bad idea, Laura?
Maybe I am.
Oh no! Someone tell George Lucas.
Oh, no. It's always
No, you.
like, yeah.
But you're right. You want to recontextualize them, give them more backstory without like ruining. You know.
I mean, no matter what you do, it's gonna. If you know the character better, you have an idea that yeah, maybe he might come back and save them because, like, he does
Yeah.
heroic things. Like
You could have
that's-
gone the other direction though.
I don't
What?
like. I don't like.
You could have made him not that. You could have made him the guy who always betrays the good guys.
Yeah.
And then when he does make that final decision, it's his redemption.
But then, what are you gonna put in the prequels? Is he
You-
just gonna
no,
betray people
sorry,
constantly?
Sorry, I meant to say you don't make the prequels because prequels are a bad idea.
Step one. No prequels.
Step one, no George, cut it out, man. We gotta cut you off, man. You can't have more Star Wars. Please stop. Sorry, Ben, you were gonna say something.
I
cut you
talked
off
about
with
this
the
when we
good
talked about
for
Alien,
one.
but
Yeah,
prequels that recontextualize the films,
Mhm.
not a huge fan of.
they rarely work.
Yeah, just because it's always a case of, I don't mind stuff where it's like recontextualization within a film because then that's like,
Oh,
all right,
that's
cool,
such a good
it's
payoff.
fine. We get you can watch a film again and
You can
it's
rewatch
like,
it and you
get
connect
the
all
same
the dots.
experience.
Yeah, that's by
But-
the way that's what good setup and payoff does.
But when it's
Yeah.
like, oh, actually, Han Solo got his last name because some Imperial Guard was like, "You're on your own, Solo," and everyone's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I forgot that happened.
Yeah,
God, that
like
was
stuff
so
like that. Where
bad.
you're like, hang on, his last name was given to him by an Imperial officer, and he keeps it throughout the rest of the fucking series.
I mean, I guess he
For
thought
the
it
next
sounded
5
cool.
films, he keeps that name. Wouldn't he be like, I'm gonna change it because I'm with the rebels now? Like,
And the Imperial Guards know my name,
he
so
gonna-
I better change it.
Is he gonna change it to
4.
Han Together? Like
Han and Friends.
Han friends?
It's like, wouldn't like that means that he's like in like the original trilogy, he's like bashing about fighting the Empire, but he has like a slave name essentially.
Oh,
Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so
Yeah.
weird. Like, why doesn't he? It'd be so much better if he's like, I'm Sol. He like if he goes up and he's just like, you with? He's like, who's your family? He's like, I'm Solo.
Solo. And then-
he's
and
like,
then-
all right, Han Solo. Like that would be
That would've been
funny.
good.
Yeah, that
'Cause
would've
then
been
that's him
good.
going like, I'm on my own. It's like, all right, Han Solo.
or if he'd made it up to because the guy was on to him, like you
He's
know,
like,
he'd somehow and he was like,
Solo.
Solo, and then he goes, oh, I don't have that on database. He's like, yeah, Han Solo, like something where like I think one of the key problems in this film is they take a lot of agency away from important characters at weird times. Like that's a good example. Like
The
Kira's whole.
blaster as well. It's like it's not.
Oh, actually,
It's just
Yeah.
like chunk.
No, let's-
There's your blaster.
no,
There's the
let's-
iconic one.
let's chat about that blaster for a second because I initially hated that when I saw it, and then throughout the film I realized what was happening. I guarantee there's a scene cut out where he explains why they do that, because what he's doing is he's breaking down Imperial rifles and making them into pistols. And the reason for that is they're really easy to get. Imperial rifles, like the Stormtrooper rifles,
Yeah.
are everywhere. So I think what they would, I don't know why this scene wasn't in the film. I guess it would have been talking down
a
to the
bit
audience.
weird, yeah.
But
Yeah.
what they were doing was taking the Imperial blasters that you see throughout the rest of the Star Wars trilogy, the Stormtroopers use them, breaking them down, making them into pistols. And I saw that, and because I'm a Star Wars nerd, I was like, oh, that's fucking sick. Like, I
And
was like, that's awesome.
That's recontextualization I don't mind because it doesn't
Yeah.
actually affect the story. It just means, did you know Han's blaster is actually
Well-
just a reconfigured Stormtrooper rifle?
But-
It's like, that's cool. It
but-
doesn't
and-
actually matter.
But perhaps crucially, Han's blaster could be made from any Imperial rifle.
Right.
And he probably remakes, like, that. The
Right.
reason that's a cool weapon is he can make it any time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could lose it and then just
And
And
get
just
another
Solid
kill
one.
a
make it.
Stormtrooper
Yeah.
and make it. Like, and that to me, conceptually is fucking sick nasty. I saw that and I went, a really good writer was like, how did he get the blaster? How are we going to remake that in an interesting way? And he went, what if it just isn't special?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you trick in the film, they're like, oh, it's special because what's his Woody, what's his
Woody
Harrelson.
gave it to him. But actually, it's
Mind
not
you-
special at all. Like,
Mind you,
I
how
thought that was cool.
hilarious was Woody Harrelson's just like fucking
Revolver Ocelot.
Revolver
yeah.
Ocelot.
Yeah,
this is how I
dog.
reload my gun. I
It's
spin it.
fucking cowboy shit, dog.
So dumb.
That pushed on my buttons,
Uh.
mate. I'll tell you what. He was great. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, he did a good job actually.
I didn't
Like,
have any complaints about
his
anyone. in this film.
character, yeah, it worked, and like, actually, I think his character arc was really satisfying.
Yeah, and I like that Han shot him. Okay, he shot him first, which I know is kind of cliche,
Hey, shot first.
but it kind of wasn't too cheesy.
It wasn't
Yeah,
like
no.
it wasn't. I didn't think it wasn't as bad as I thought they were gonna ham it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't say, "Oh, the
He's like, you shot
the
me
last lesson,"
first.
and then he shoots him. And he goes, "The last lesson was you got to shoot first." Like Han just does it.
Yeah, and he's like, right choice, cool.
Yeah, which I liked.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to talk about Darth Maul before we fucking end
Right,
the episode.
yeah.
Can
Okay,
we talk about the Kessel Run?
Oh,
Wait, the whole. It's just no. I liked it. I didn't mind it because
No.
it's like
it didn't.
it wasn't
what I
just-
expected.
it wasn't just like
Yeah.
It wasn't like a 10-minute segment. It's just like, I did the Kessel Run. It was
Oh,
like it was
could-
the film.
I'm very confused about they concocted this plan and seemingly like pulled elements out of thin air, and then they go to Lando and they go, "We're going to do the Kessel Run," and he knows what they mean.
Oh, so the Kessel Run
It's like
is
a fame.
no. Well, the
The
Kessel, Run
is the 20
tunnel.
parsec one.
Okay.
The
And
Kessel Run
that's
is
why
the
he's like,
tunnel.
I've
So
done
that's
it
the
in
one
12.
through the tunnel thing.
Yeah.
to get to the planet
Yeah.
with the stuff. That's why the stuff is so expensive. Is you have to
'Cause
go
it's really
through
hard.
the Kessel
so
Run.
that's the
Okay.
Kessel Run, and
And
he did it
so-
in 12 parsecs because he took a shortcut.
Because
Yeah.
the idea is you can't steal from it. Because so the what are they
The
the
blockade.
no the
You
the
can
Empire
barricade
blockade.
it really easily because
it's one
just
hole
the
in, one hole
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Unless you're fucking Han Solo. And I thought that to me, but he didn't. Here's what I loved. He didn't do it himself. I was expecting them to be like, Han Solo's the hero of the day. He's gonna fucking
God,
save
that
the
would
day.
have
He's gonna do it.
been so like
it was-
yeah,
but
no,
it was great.
would have taken like a lot of like
It was all of them. It was a team effort.
Everyone did it. Even
Yeah.
Donald Glover, which I liked.
He did a bit.
He was great.
yeah.
What
At
did
one point, he was like hiding behind a chair. I don't know. What he was doing at
Kira
that
put out a fire?
Yeah.
and he was hiding behind a chair.
Oh,
Put a
that's
fire
right.
and then plug the thing into the ship.
Yeah, okay, she was pretty
Yeah,
helpful.
and then part of the
I do like. I gotta say though, I like all of Lando's capes. I'll say
do
that.
like all
That
of
Oh,
them.
his
tickled me
capes
nice.
were awesome.
I do like
Uh,
cape collection.
I liked. Okay, so that scene, that scene where Kira and
Having a
Han.
smooch on.
I haven't. That was the only time that I felt actual chemistry, and I wonder if that is because that scene was so well written, or if it's because they actually had chemistry, or alternatively, the rest of the scenes with them together weren't written very well.
Or maybe just the capes.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe the capes help with it.
I thought it was
sexing
just
up.
like
I don't know,
I thought it was
it
just
was
a
just
good.
cute.
I
It was a
always
good
like
setup.
I never like have a very good like experience with a love story when they like when we go in halfway through and they're already together.
To be fair, you also don't see flirting happening in real life, so I don't know what your meter is like for that kind of thing in film. Because film does a very, very different thing with it, where they, like, especially when a relationship exists. I don't know how to
But I
explain
mean, they
it.
used a lot of shorthand where they're like they smooch, bam, they're together. You have to like.
That's what I was gonna
That's
say.
all the setting that we're.
There's no like,
setting up that we're gonna have.
there's no conversations. They just, it's someone smooches and they're like, I guess we're together. That's not
Yeah.
how real life works.
Exactly.
Like, you can't just smooch and be
I
like,
don't know. It didn't.
and now we're gonna get married. It's like, what,
Yeah.
sir?
It didn't. It didn't really like.
We've been
work
holding our
for
hands
me.
all
and
day,
like
and
Han
I'm still
was so
not
fucking
pregnant.
naive about the whole thing throughout the entire film. Like
Who
he
was,
doesn't.
sorry? Han.
Han, yeah.
I kind of like that boyish innocence.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's been 3 years. Do you really think that nothing has changed?
I was confused about the timeline of this. Maybe it's because I pissed when he was in the army. But how long was he in the army for? Was that 3 years?
Yeah, that was the 3 years.
Oh,
That
okay.
was the 3 years.
I missed that because I went to the bathroom. But was there a 3 years later sign, or did
Yeah,
I miss
it
There
it?
was a
was,
3
yeah.
years later.
Good, because I totally blanked
You
on
missed
that.
it.
Yeah,
and
it
they were
was
like,
3
it's been
years.
3 years. I was like, when? That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just checking. That was when I got bored and went to the
But yeah,
bathroom.
literally, like, who comes back after 3 years and goes, could we pick it up right
that
back
is
where
a
we
long
left
time.
it?
3
It's
years
not.
is a long
It's not
time.
great, but if you're very young, okay, let's think about the timeline of this film. Han, okay,
How old is he, do you think?
He must have been 19. He must have been young at the start, like 19. He would have been like 24,
He was-
23 at the end of this.
Yeah.
He's young as shit. Like, he's
Yeah.
young. So you can imagine if he's dumb and young and has never, like, and also, like,
Young,
remember,
dumb, and
he's
broke.
grown up with Amelia Clark, and they've been in love for probably a long time. And also, it's like, it's that,
Yeah, but has he pined after her for 3 goddamn years?
but it's that sewer rat thing where you don't know any bad. I agree. No, I'm totally with you. But I think that what the film is trying to do and not doing successfully. So you're right. But I think what the film is trying to do is say,
Like,
like,
they
these are
should have
sewer
addressed
rats.
it, but they didn't.
Because they ran out of runtime because they spent a lot of time with him in the army, and then for some reason, like a lot of time on that
Just
rebel.
Like,
Not
if they
setting
wanted to
stuff
do
up.
the love subplot, they needed to give it a little bit more time to let it sit better.
You could have done that if they went to the army together. Like, there's lots of options you could have had
Yeah.
with the way
Yeah.
that this played out.
Do a
But
Starship Troopers with it.
Like,
would've ruined
separate
the-
them later. Give them a bit more time to sort of work things out, maybe.
yeah, exactly. Although Ben's idea of the Starship Troopers thing would be sick nasty, because if she's being Darth Maul's apprentice the whole time,
She's
And-
like the up and
and
up,
they're
he's
totes
like
in
the
love and
fucking-
shit, and he's
just
like
the-
bottom
yeah.
grovel, and she's climbing up the ladder.
Now I just
Oh
want to
god, are they doing another like?
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Wait, are they doing another thing where like lovers slash enemy?
Absolutely.
Are you trying to suggest that Star Wars is formulaic, Laura? What are you trying to say?
Finn and Captain Phasma.
They could mac on for days. Sorry,
But
more like
she's
Finn and
dead.
Poe normally saying one of them's gonna be fucking simple. Look, okay, so all in all, trying to encapsulate it, bring it all into kind of a nice, neat
Darth
package.
Maul.
He had that double-ended lightsaber, and that was kind of
Looked
pornographic.
weird.
But he had an AK-47 little holster on that little thing right there. You know what I'm saying? He had a little magazine on it for some
But I'm
reason.
glad it was there.
But I'm glad it was there. But I also
Glad
hated that it was
Darth
there.
Maul is in this.
He didn't need the
film.
lightsaber though. I could have.
I don't care. He could have just grabbed it. I would have been like, cool.
He looks good.
Oh, one last
He
thing.
looks-
Yeah.
What did you think of the weird reveal of like the Marauder person being like a chick?
I was
It-
like, am I meant to know who this
I-
is?
Han looks at.
I think they were literally like going for like,
like,
the reveal
look.
that it was a girl.
Well,
I think that's what they were doing. in
Han,
the
Han
reveal.
looked at Beckett like Beckett knew who it was, and Beckett looked at Han like I don't fucking know. And I was like, I was tracking
And
the
then
whole
they
shot,
look at the audience like, do you know? We're like, we don't know.
and I think
No,
that was
it's
the.
just some chick.
I think it was just the reveal of just like, it's a kid and a girl.
I think they just
a
spent
kid.
they spent too long on it, expecting you to be like, I know who it is, but like it. I'm with you. Like it did. I think the editing of that shot
I don't know
ruined that.
why that they
It's Anakin.
like. I mean, I think they were trying to make it like significant that we've cast a female character
they're
as this
not
minor
white.
character and like
She was really white.
like she's a minor character and she's female.
She's got
and,
freckles. She's not pretty.
Congratulations.
It-
Congratulations,
guess.
you're trying to diversify with
Wait.
minor characters.
Hang on. Now that you
Or-
brought that up, why wasn't that someone? Like this is a prequel. No, maybe I like
No.
that. Did I like that? Maybe I like that.
What
I think I
if,
like
what if it was like young Padme or some shit?
Oh.
Wait, no.
Sorry,
Old Padme.
beg your pardon. Yeah, old.
old Padme.
No, she died.
She died in childbirth.
Oh yeah,
didn't
she did that.
To be fair, Darth Maul fell down a well, so.
Yeah, but like, yeah.
He's back
Do you
with just
think-
legs.
I
robot
don't know.
legs.
It felt contrived a little bit that it was a girl.
Just-
like, not that
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
saying
that's
that it. I'm
Captain
not saying that
Phasma.
it should have been a dude, but what I'm saying is like it felt like
Kidding.
they specifically were like, we're gonna cast a young girl and people are gonna love it.
When she took it off, I was like, look, it's brave.
And we're gonna hold on it
Disney's
because
brave.
people are gonna be like, yeah,
Cool.
we
I
cast
just-
a girl.
I think they ruined it with the editing because I think we should have I think they're either it had to be someone or don't linger on it. Like
Yeah.
don't make a deal
Yeah,
of
this is
it.
kind of weird.
I think that's Ron Howard being like in the editing
Look!
bay, just not looking
It's a
at
person.
not looking at it properly,
Look,
being
it's
like,
not a dude. You're expected a dude.
Yeah, I guess that's.
I was
probably
setting up a
the-
Ron Howard red hair joke, you fucks. I was gonna be like, she has red hair, we're gonna spend some time on it. It's fine. Look, he's got grey hair now. It doesn't matter. Look, okay. I'm gonna try and do my best, as I always do each week, to try and wrap this in a bow, so bear with me.
Good attempt.
Well, I try every week and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Look, I think, as a cowboy film, as a space opera film, it works. And as Laura said, it's competently made. It's perfectly serviceable. I personally had a great time because it speaks to what I enjoy as a genre fiction piece. Ben seems to have enjoyed it because it does some concepts of Star Wars that we haven't really seen before
Yeah.
without being too egregious. Laura had a lukewarm time, and that is perfectly acceptable, and I respect your opinion to have a lukewarm time, and I agree the romance subplot was kind of a waste of
Just a
time.
bath that's just been
I'm
left out a
sorry.
bit too long.
I like
Yeah.
a good romance, so
It's a kitchen sink that you did the washing up 15 minutes ago, and the suds, they're not as hot as they used to be. But what I will say is, I think it did a decent job. I think Alden Ehrenreich, for all the shit he got in pre-production with him not being able to improvise, I think he did a fantastic job with what he was given. I never felt like he was hamming it up too badly. Donald Glover was fantastic. The whole cast put in their best. I think Emilia Clarke, as much as I love her, and I thought she was great, maybe miscast a bit. But I think as a whole package, this speaks to what you can do. Save that setup for the Tatooine thing. It speaks what you can do with a film by itself and have... Make an anthology story that feels like it's got its own identity. This felt like a space western,
Yeah.
kind of gritty crime space western film versus like A New Hope, which is like a space opera. I think it's testament to if they're gonna do a fucking an Obi-Wan standalone film, they need to actually commit to it.
yeah.
And if Ewan McGregor does it and he's grizzled and old and shit, oh fuck
What if it's
yes.
just Logan, but Star Wars?
Oh,
Oh.
Benjamin! God yes, and he kills Darth
Dude.
Maul. Fuck him in.
oh,
Look, okay, now I'm excited about Darth Maul and Obi-Wan fucking going like toe gritty in the
You
sand.
know
and
they're
shit.
absolutely
Punching on.
gonna-
They lose the lightsaber, just punching on. Oh, fuck yeah. Look, okay. But I really enjoy this film, and I think that as much as I should have hated it, I think it's a testament to sometimes it's okay to get
Sometimes
lost
they
in
just-
something that's
they
bad.
just- sometimes they pull it off.
And you know what? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I came out of this glowing and ecstatic that I had a great time in a Star Wars film.
Maybe this is like like we with the Marvel films we had like the turning point where films started going, oh, let's actually have our own identity. Maybe this is the
this-
Spider-Man
Is
Homecoming.
this the Guardians of the Galaxy?
The Spider-Man Homecoming.
You really jumped it. It's Guardians was the first one with Danny James Gunn jumping in
I would
there.
say that
doing
like
God's work.
Guardians was like
Mate,
had
Guardians.
its own
well,
identity,
yeah.
but then like
Guardians had its
Spider-Man
own
was
identity, but then
like
like
Marvel
they
films
like
can
went
have
back
their
a
own
bit,
identity because
Yeah.
Guardians film was a Guardians
and then they
film.
started having their identity again.
True. Also, Spider-Man: Homecoming and Guardians 2 made me cry. So I'm not gonna fucking pick and choose. Like they're both great.
This is
like,
Yeah.
this goes above Ant-Man but below Doctor Strange. I
it's
don't-
Disney, so we can chuck them in the same
I
one. I don't give a shit.
We're gonna have
Yeah, I don't
the
give a shit.
almighty Disney tier list.
Exactly.
Number
Oh,
one, Toy
Oh.
Story 2.
I would rather quit Toy Story 3. What are you talking about? I would rather quit my podcasting career than do that. Okay.
Oh god, that would be atrocious.
Bottom of the tier list.
It's that time of
Cars
the week.
2.
You got any recommendations, gang? What have you been peeping? What have you been watching, listening to?
God.
Ben never has anything ever.
No,
You have something.
I have been listening to Grimes. It's weird.
Talked about this in the
We
car.
talked about this in
It's
the
weird
car.
and she's fantastic.
It's like I described it to David as pop music, but every now and then an instrument just gets replaced with an untuned FM radio.
It's fucking wild.
And also the weirdest vocals
It's fantastic.
ever.
I love Grimes.
Very weird.
Yeah, it's up there.
Very entertaining.
Excellent. He's
Bone
giving a
that
thumbs
Elon
up if you're
Musk.
listening at home. It's a podcast medium. Not everyone can see the camera.
Take
Um,
us to the Mars. with your
You talking
boyfriend.
to Elon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've been peeping the Fundamentalists podcast. It's Elliot Morgan from SourceFed, ex-SourceFed, luminary, now Valley Folk extraordinaire, and
What
he.
happened to all the SourceFed people? Did
They all have
just
different
kinda,
jobs.
like-
Steven Suptic, they all work for Rooster Teeth now, basically. That's pretty much what happened. But
Yeah.
the Fundamentalist is a philosophy podcast, but it's not like ideas and philosophy. Like it's actually his co-host is a doctor in philosophy, and they talk about stuff that's actually applicable to your life.
So
Like
he has a PhD because
he's-
all PhDs
he's got
are
like
doctorates
2 or
in
3 I
philosophy.
think. Yeah, exactly. But it's really interesting, and I learned like when I listen to it, I actually learn a lot about my life and the ways that I can implement that. Like it's not just chatting; they actually
Wow.
talk about real concepts, and
Yeah.
it is fucking good and funny and interesting and sad. And they're currently in the middle of a 3-part series on sex that is wildly fascinating. I highly recommend checking it out. Laura, have you got anything for us?
Actually, today I found out. So Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park is actually bringing out an album
Oh
called
no.
Post Traumatic.
Oh
Yeah.
no! Don't do
So
this
he's released some songs, and I think it's coming out in June. So
Oh no.
That's gonna be a family,
That's
huh?
so mean.
I
That's
know,
tough.
I know it's
Oh.
That
No,
sucks, man.
that's the worst news I've heard all day.
Yeah, that's tough. Am I allowed
sad. But
to?
worth a listen though.
I'll check it out.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. but God damn it.
I was gonna say I'm gonna recommend music as well. Blue October have got a new album coming out soon. They put up 2 tracks from it. One of them is great. One of them is very weird, deeply disturbing. So classic Blue October.
Well, hey.
They've been doing a fucking album every year since 2008, but man, they're so good. Check them out; they're fantastic. I think that's all I got. Otherwise, Ben, where can people find us?
Facebook,
DCMworks Social,
YouTube,
youtube.com/DCMworks. Don't look at me.
Twitter,
At DCM_works, you're fucking looking at me.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/DCMworks. I didn't get the episode of Interface edited last week, but
Cool.
if you're a Patreon, you heard the first chapter of my book.
It's another week delayed.
No, you got a little snippet because I was recording it anyway for a test screening. So you would have heard the first episode or the first chapter of my book last
That
week if you're a
exists.
Patreon. So if you want to hear that, yeah, we physically held it before.
There is a. Do you
Uh,
wanna?
yeah,
It's down here. I know it's up there. I moved it. There is a book. It doesn't have a cover,
Yeah,
but it's a
it's-
book.
Yeah.
But it exists.
Quick.
It's-
if you
this
if you
is
have a
not
high
the-
frame rate, you can
It's
read all of
not
David's
actual,
book.
It's not going to be that size. So
It's-
this
there
is
you go.
not actual
It's gonna be
size.
smaller. And also, it's a black
your-
background, and you're wearing a black sweater, so
Your
no
book
one's
has
gonna
just
see it.
been pirated, David. People
Oh,
are going to go through
they're
that
gonna see
frame
it?
by frame and see every page.
My book comes out in about 2 weeks. There'll be links in the description when that does come out. If you're a Patreon, you will get a discount for that. And if also you're a listener of this podcast, we'll be putting a discount code in next week's
And
episode.
if you're me, you might get a copy for free.
Maybe I might make you pay for it.
Yeah.
Pay for all the bullshit you put me through. But yeah, that's coming out soon, and you guys have been hugely supportive with all of that. I literally couldn't have done it without the Patreons and everyone that supported me. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, if you are a Patreon, an episode of Interface is going up this week because it's finished. I just forgot to post it. So keep an eye out for that. It's
Good.
I think part 9 or 10. Like it's getting up there. We need to start recording
we're halfway through.
Wow,
it's
guys.
gonna be
Like,
great.
It's getting.
This
we
one has
haven't
penis
even-
trees, so look forward to that.
Oh yeah, the penis trees.
Yeah, this is the penis tree.
where
I have not
everything's
been
made of
keeping up.
penis.
Yeah,
Mind you,
it's-
you haven't
yeah, I
given me a
remember
link
that.
to the Patreon. So.
Oh, have I not? Shoot.
No, it's been months, David.
Oh, guilty, Your Honor. But yeah, check that out if you want. If you subscribe for more than $3 a month, you get access to over 56 exclusive episodes
Wow.
of podcasts.
Exactly.
That's a shitload of content. Yeah, I
Exactly
check it every week
56.
before we record. Yeah,
so next week.
it'll be 57.
Will it?
The goal is to tick it up once each week. Yeah,
Will it be
Well-
57, David?
maybe.
Find out next time.
My goal with the Patreon is rather than being like a donation, it's a subscription to additional content. I don't want it to be like a, donate to support us. I want it to be like, if you believe what we're doing and you want to get more of it, you can do that through that subscription. I don't think of it as donation. So if you do want to support us and you want to get more stuff, you can do that. Big shout out to Yup Kuman, still our biggest Patreon and a tight little homie in our corner, always looking out for us. Big shout outs. Thanks, Yup. That's all I got. As always, I'm at DCM Hate Pie,
I'm at Literal Citrus.
I'm at Laura Ducky B.
and we will see you guys next week.